Not on that, no.
Okay. The other one is, I came across some documents here, and I want to know who this, who's paying for this reputation advisory firm we have?
The town is, that's our communications consultant we brought in.
Okay. Can I have that contract?
Certainly.
Okay. What are we paying him, or the firm? What's the cost? What's the objective for that?
That was to help us with some very significant communication issues, both with the arrest of 2 town employees and then with the soil contamination issue.
All right. So it's a reputation advisory firm.
It's a communications specialist.
So I went to the website and I looked into it, and they do a lot of stuff, and I actually have a copy of the management plan they gave. I'm surprised you didn't make the Board of Selectmen aware of this plan.
Go ahead.
Why did you not make the Board of Selectmen aware of this communication advisory plan?
Because we jumped right into doing that. Was a very quick, very significant, and very serious communication issue, and we worked on that day to day as we're going through that. So
2 members of your administration are arrested. Hazardous waste is spread all across the town.
Actually, that's not correct. Hazardous waste has not been determined to be spread all across the town.
All right, so...
In fact, the Department of Health has specifically said that's not the case.
And that's specifically what is outlined here in this management plan here, where they talks about the highlights and the lowlights and what we should and should not be advising, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. This reads more as a political document than it does a management plan. My point is that our tax dollars went to hire a firm to deal with the messaging coming out.
In essence, emergency communication, absolutely. We took getting the accurate word out to our residents of exactly where we were, bringing somebody on board who dealt with this type of situation in the past, as essential.
So, essentially, so this management firm created the roadmap we've been following, or you've been following for the last 2 months on this?
We worked with them to do that, absolutely.
Okay. So, and then that's essentially, I guess, my point here, that we outsourced, and it says here in point number 2, because we talked about the last meeting, leadership. We've outsourced the leadership to this G7 reputation advisory group. Think about that, a reputation.
We did not outsource the leadership. We did bring in them for their communication skills, and they helped us put together the town webpage. They helped us format the communication, make sure that we were getting accurate information out and the important information out to our residents.
And that goes exactly to what I saw at the DTC headquarters opening, when Jim Himes talked about, hey, we need to get a message together, we need to be all from the same playbook, and here we go. We have the message right here, paid for by the taxpayers of Fairfield.
That's a little bit political on your part, Mr. Timiak, and really not appropriate for this body.
Okay, well, I don't think the residents of Fairfield were aware that they paid a firm to handle the reputation.
They weren't paid for the reputation. He was paid for his communication skills.
And what did it cost?
All right, we can get you that information.
I would love to have that contract tomorrow morning by 10 a.m. if I can.
Mike, I'm going to jump in here. I got this last night, and we came across this through FOI. There's a fine line here. You're 30 days away from the election. You say that this is not political. Okay, we cannot ignore the politics that are here, that are in front of us. So, there's a fine line of what, are you doing this for the taxpayer? Are you doing this because your reputation was damaged in a potential upcoming election? When I read this stuff last night, I'm like, okay, I get it. We were facing something that we had never faced before, but there's a fine line here, that you were getting beat up on social media, no doubt that that was happening. This happens, now I'm like, okay, try to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're doing this for the taxpayer, but then I read this, on one of these slides, it says, through surrogates, call out those who irresponsibly raise public fears. That's political.
Yeah.
I'm talking. That's political. In the simple fact that, what's a reasonable fear? A mother that's concerned that her kids are playing in a playground, use surrogates to attack them. That's not serving the residents of Fairfield. So when I see that in a document that's bought and paid for by the town of Fairfield, it causes me concern. I don't think your answer is going to fly there.
Yeah, Mr. Bates, and just to be clear, that document was not bought and paid for by the town of
You
Fairfield.
just said it was.
No, I didn't. You said it was.
No, you did.
You did 5 minutes ago, so now it's...
I asked who paid for this, you said the town
We
paid for it.
paid for Mr. Geddes' work, we did not pay for that document. We hired him as an individual to come in and help us with that. We hired him when we knew that there was arrest was going to be made. We hired him, he was on board before the soil information came out. So this was not in response to anything that was happening on social media. This was literally to make sure that we had a very complex and difficult communication situation coming up, and we wanted to make sure we got that information out clearly to the town residents to address the seriousness of this.
Okay.
And we owed our residents that.
So, this management plan was paid for by who? This one, right here. Okay, yeah.
Looks like you're correct. It looks like that was done for the town.
Okay. The town paid for this management plan, and we don't know what it cost, we don't know what the contract was, we don't know what the objective was. Very,
We
very...
do have a contract, and we do know what it costs, and I will get you that information.
Okay, Ed and I are also on the Board of Selectmen, and clearly, there's stuff in here we disagree with. And again, this is a document which was, it's a it's a roadmap to save the reputation. And it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah, that was part of the communication plan that was put together.
Right.
But the idea is that very definitely, we brought in somebody with that background to make sure that we could get out complete and thorough communication and make sure our residents were updated.
Members of your campaign are on the email chain. I don't have anything else tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in it.
All right,
Hey,
thank you.
Hey, give him a call and figure out how to fix this.
Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.